to welcome back to the show Lieutenant General Thomas McInerney. General, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well, JD, and I appreciate greatly you're taking the time to listen to me, and that we can discuss what I think is potentially could be the greatest crime in the history of the world. The oath that I took many years ago in the plains at West Point to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Never did I expect, JD, that I would all of a sudden meet domestic enemies that somehow our founding fathers put in our oath of office that are a danger to this nation. We have never had mandatory vaccinations. Why mandatory vaccinations? And I'm going to flesh that out a little bit for you. These things, the inflation, massive inflation that we've seen, that we haven't seen for 40 years, these are not accidents. Why am I shaping all these things for you with the woke politics? All these things, JD, are designed, and our listeners should understand, to create chaos, to confuse you. Look at Disney now. They're not talking about boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Please. This is designed to confuse us, to create turbulence. And now, of course, what's going on in the Ukraine is again another deception. And lo and behold, the price of gasoline doubled. My goodness. But this was all deliberate to create the confusion. And now I'm going to tell you why. There is compelling evidence coming out, and I want you and the American people to understand that there is going to be another wave. What is going to happen is we're going to get a third wave. And this wave is going to impact the midterm elections, I believe, so that there won't be an election, because the virus is going to be far deadlier than what we've seen. You know, if you were below the age of 30, COVID-19, you had a survival rate of 99.9999, 4 nines behind the 99%, JD. Now, why would you have a mandatory vaccination, particularly on your military people, particularly on your first responders, and particularly on your medical professionals? That's the key and the core of our national security. So it's very strange. Now, what's going to happen is, if you got the vaccination, I'm going to tell every person that got it, you now have reduced or no immunity. Your immune system has been killed. And that's why so many people are dying from so many different diseases, but they aren't identifying. They're all identifying as COVID-19 deliberately. If you died in a hospital and you died of COVID-19, the hospital got $15 or $17 or $20,000. I forget what it is. They paid for your death, the government. Strange, isn't it? So what are the hospital officials going to do? They're going to put COVID-19. Now, if you look at the deaths in COVID-19, they are more than World War I and World War II together, the deaths from COVID-19 and the vaccination. Now, that's stunning. That is stunning, JD. But we're about to see something that has never happened in history before, and that is the danger, because this vaccination has an mRNA in it that has particles, little particles, metallic particles. And you've probably heard of the transmission system, that telecommunications are coming out. You have 4G on your cell phone now. You're going to get 5G. Now, in the 5G reign at the 18 gigahertz, I'm getting technical and I want to keep it very simple, but this will activate those nanoparticles in your system that the vaccination put in, particularly the second one, the second shot, or third or fourth they're talking about. They're talking about the disease that we're looking at, the virus that could come out, is Marburg. Now, Marburg is a part of the Ebola virus. You remember Ebola from Africa. Mm-hmm. It's not nearly as contagious as COVID-19, but it's far deadlier. I mean, when you were talking less than 1%, now we're talking up to 80%. This is genocide, potentially. Never in history have we seen it. Of the 320 million or 30 million Americans we have, probably 250 at least have had the shot. Let's say 200. And some of our sources that the doctors in New York City have been alerted, felt it's important, JD, to alert the people to be prepared, because there's going to be a second virus. And it's not as contagious, but it can be activated on 5G at the 18 gigahertz. Now, that's a military frequency, and it's called millimeter wave. And you notice around FAA got around airports that they couldn't put the 5G antennas. I don't know if you remember hearing about that, because it would impact the instruments and landing in that, the danger. So there's already an indication. Well, if it indicates something wrong with the instruments in an airplane, what's it going to do when I put the phone up to my ear? The number one solution is all the telecoms, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, all of them, should not implement 5G. We should not implement it. Let's get them to cut off 5G. We don't need 5G.